All right, welcome back to the Guard Your Retirement Podcast with Dolph Janis, the owner and founder and an insurance professional, of course, of Clear Income Strategies in Charlotte and it's a lot of other states, too, outside of North Carolina. Go to guardyoursavings.com and schedule with Dolph and his team a 20-minute Ask Anything session. And don't forget Dolph's book, Cross the Bridge to Retirement, Keeping Your Financial Future Stress-Free. Dolph, thanks for joining us today. And the subtitle of your book, harken back to something that we talked about in the last episode. We talked about different tax strategies in retirement, and that's just how much stress money causes in retirement. And today we're going to discuss benchmarks in retirement that could definitely accelerate some of those things. Dolph, before we do that, how you doing today? How are things in North Carolina?
Fall is one of my favorite times of the year. I mean, the weather's gorgeous. It's not too cold. It's not too hot. The leaves are changing. It's like getting ready for the old Christmas season for my daughter. She's like thinking, Santa Claus, my elves are coming and stuff. It's just the fall, personally, is my happiest time of the year.
I mean, they named the sport golf after you, Dolph. Okay, you love golf, all right? That's the pretty much the founder of golf, it seems like. But I guess it's easier on the golf course when it's not 95 degrees and 80% humidity.
Most of them are. I mean, Bermuda grass thrives on heat, but otherwise, yes. And it's easier to play in golf now when it's only 70 degrees outside when it's versus 100 degrees. It's a whole different experience, one would say.
I would think it is there. Yes, we'll have to size that up some other time here. But let's dive in because this benchmark, you love this season of fall, but there are different seasons within retirement too. A lot of people think of retirement as just this one big season where everything's the same, right? Okay, I'm not working anymore, gradually aging, but there actually are different age benchmarks that affect tax, the required minimum distribution, all these different things. So let's break those down because, well, number one, I see the first age you said to me is 59 and a half. And to me, I don't even think of 59 and a half as a retirement age. So explain what that benchmark means and how it affects people.
Well, the 59 and a half, I think, growing up and you're accumulating, you're saving, you're wanting to retire. Most people are with this and they're saving. They have these 401ks, they have these IRAs, and there's all these things out there. And they want to change things up, and they don't know the rules. It's like when you're 16, you want to drink, but you're legally not allowed to until you're 21. And so then they're 18, and they're finding ways to do it. But the nice benchmark about 59 and a half that most people don't know, some do, is that is the age you're legally allowed to do something with your 401k, your IRA, your SEP, or whatever, your qualified account. You can take that money and run and pay the taxes on it without having to pay that 10% government penalty. You can roll it into another vehicle if you want to, but it opens up the mind of, like, you're 21, you can actually now walk into the bar legally at 21 and have a nice iced tea or a Manhattan with this little mark on it like you always enjoy. But that's what 59 and a half does. It's the first step of really grabbing the retirement program, grabbing where you want to be in 6 to 8 years and knowing what you're going to have versus guessing what you're going to have, because now you can legally, without having to pay penalties, access your money and do something else with it going forward.
So even if you got a few more years of work, that's a great age just because of how the fees, tax penalties, and such arrange themselves. 59 and a half is a good one to start moving some assets.
And then, perfect example, I had a client who just turned 59 and a half. He lives in beautiful Boca Raton, Florida.
All right.
Went down, saw him, played golf. This was a few months ago. It was very humid down there, very enjoyable. But he had a sizable amount in his 401k. He worked for the airlines. And he finally got to the chance. He was like, Dolph, I want to protect this. I want this money to turn into an income stream in 8 years, and I want to know what that income stream could be. And like I said, that's one big benefit about a fixed index income annuity is that we can tell him down to the penny, no matter what happens in the next 7-8 years, this is what your income's going to be. And so now he's starting to plan for how much income he's going to have. And then he left the rest of it to say, okay, I'm going to play with this money and try to grow. And if I lose it, I'm okay because I know I have this set income coming in 8 years. And then it was like the day after he turned 59 and a half, he called me up and said, come on down, we'll play golf, let's move this thing, and let's get this thing guaranteed and protected. And that's what we did with the annuity, an income annuity for him.
Hey, and I think that's great that he knew the benchmark, knew the age to call you, just like anybody should, or go to your website, guardyoursavings.com, and get that going and get the right vessels in place there to get that retirement plan the right way. Now, by the way, before we go to the next benchmark, whoever thought in this beautiful part of the world, Boca Raton, Florida, it needed to be called Rat Mouth? Okay, I'm just saying, like, what were they? I mean, I get Baton Rouge, okay, Red Stick, Louisiana, but
right.
Rat Mouth, Florida?
There's a lot of weird names. Like I said, I'm from Michigan originally, and you're on your way to Kalamazoo, you go through Climax, you go through Paw Paw, you go through Battle Creek. I mean, You got some
Is Hell,
interesting
Michigan
names up
near
there.
there too? I know there's a Hell, Michigan.
Hell, Michigan's on the other side, but yes, there's quite a few different names up there in Detroit.
To the next one, 62 years old. I know that's a big one there. So explain the importance of 62 after we hit 59 and a half.
62 is when all those working years of Social Security come into play. Now you have the option of start taking your Social Security out, whether you're at the age of 62. I mean, if you don't know how Social Security works, they take your top 10 years or top 40 quarters of your highest paid into Social Security, average it out, and that's what your Social Security payment is. And I don't recommend taking Social Security if you're still working. Everybody's situation is different, but it's still, it's available for you if you want. They're going to have to prorate your payments because you have income coming in from that. But if you're retired and you're retiring at 62 or 60 and they offer it to you, you have that option to it because Social Security increases every year you got going forward. 2032 is the Social Security Reduction Act, which is going to be interesting what happens in 7 years. I'm a bigger fan. All advisors have their own little sayings, but I'm a bigger fan. If you take 62 years old, there's about a 9 to 10 year break even point on Social Security. So it's like if you're taking it 62 versus waiting till 70, now do you want to enjoy your life more between, or your vacations, you're traveling between 62 and 73, or do you want to enjoy more between 80 and 90? Like I said, that's nothing's a given. I'm like a fan of, if it's there, take it. You can reinvest it. You can do whatever you want to do with it. But that's at the huge age about 62 is because now Social Security comes into play for your retirement.
Yeah, there is no black or white issue, so to speak, when it comes to that. You know, there's definitely just depends on what your strategy is and how you want to tackle that going forward there. So 62 is the first age you can start drawing on Social Security. The next one you have listed down is age 65.
65 is the age savior, one would say, because now you get to go to Medicare. And Medicare is the insurance savior because one of the highest costs in retirement, besides going grocery shopping, is Medicare. And if you get the Medicare right, we have agents in the office here who've forgotten more about Medicare than you'll ever know. But it's getting the right type of Medicare, the right supplements and stuff. But now you're eligible for that, which will take you off these other plans that you're paying hundreds and thousands of dollars for every year. And so Medicare now has with open enrollment. And if you don't know about Medicare too much, you can actually sign up for Medicare 90 days prior to your 65th birthday.
You can sign up for Medicare how many days before your 65th birthday?
90 days.
90 days before your 65th birthday. So you can go ahead and get that. And I know we're about to approach October, which is, I think, open enrollment season where some people will be transitioning into that. So that's age 65 and then Medicare. And once you're on that, does that affect how much you're taxed at all? Do you get taxed more or less? Is receiving Medicare some sort of phantom income?
That is a great question. And yes, I mean, your Medicare comes out of your Social Security. And
Okay.
if you're taking Social Security part of it, and if it's not, then you have to pay for Medicare. But depending on what level tax bracket you're at on your income is how much you're paying on Social. You're going to be paying for Medicare. And there's Medicare Part A, Medicare Part B. There's free Medicare that has its benefits, and there's Medicare that you're paying for every month that has its benefits. There's so many different strategies in Medicare, but it's one of the most important decisions you have to make because it's a game changer. And that's what I like. Jeff Conyers in our office knows more about it than he's forgotten more than I'll know. And I relay everything to him because he saved so many of my clients anywhere from $15 a month to $100 a month by putting them in the right program. And those people that the 15, it's not worth the time for $15 a month. And I tell you, Doug, it's like going to the movies with the Seinfelds. Like they're all sitting in one stadium and Jerry. It's 15 minutes. I mean, if I gave you $15 every month, no, but if I gave you $200 at the end of the year, would you take it? 100%.
Yeah.
Every penny counts.
Every penny counts, that's for sure. So Jeff in your office really specializing in how Medicare and the ways people can find that beneficial to them. GuardYourSavings.com. Talk to Dolph and his team, including Jeff, who I love that phrase, somebody that's forgotten more than you'll ever know about something. That's such a funny phrase.
Hey, I don't have a face for radio for nothing.
Hey, you got the gift of the gab, though. We like that. All right, so 65, Medicare, now age 66. So you got to really pay close attention in your 60s. That's where there are a lot of changes. So what's significant about the double sixes?
The 66 now going into 67, they come together. That's when you're at full retirement age.
Okay.
And your full retirement age is when you're officially retired in the eyes of the government, but that's when your Social Security has your next big step and where you've reached that, and that's the number they're going to give you. And it's just another bridgestone of like saying, okay, I'm going to wait till full retirement age because that's where I'm supposed to be getting for, again, Social Security payments.
I see. So that's where you could you could max those things out. But then age 73 is on the horizon. I think I know a little bit that has to do with Social Security to age 73. So explain how that relates versus age 73 versus age 66.
Well, basically, with 70 is another one. That's when you have to start taking your Social Security out. You can't go any longer than that. But age 73 is a thing called the RMD, Required Minimum Distribution. It used to be 72. They got it potentially into the law. It might be going up to 74 here sometime soon, depending on how the Secure Act comes out here in the next couple months. But that's when you have to start taking a portion out of your retirement money, your qualified funds, whether you want to or you need to. You have to. You have no choice. I mean, they've lowered the penalty on it. It used to be a huge penalty if you didn't take it all, but now it's like 25 to 50%. Still, you have to take that money out, for you're not giving the government more free money to do whatever they want to do with. And balancing your RMDs out, people, there's so many different ways of doing that. We'll do that on another podcast of how you can do it. Because let's say you have you have a SEP IRA, a qualified, a traditional, a 401k, and a pension out there. You can take all of it from one spot as long as you take it. You don't have to take it from every individual account. That's a whole other show on it. But it's one of the white papers we have at Guard Your Savings on the proper way of taking out your RMD. And there's also ways of taking it out where you don't pay taxes on it. That's a little tidbit. I mean, call us and I'll tell you how to take your RMD out and you don't pay taxes on it.
Interesting. Okay. And by the way, just to refresh, I know we both have said it once already in the show, RMD, your required minimum distribution, when you need to start taking from your retirement accounts, or else there could be a tax penalty for sure. So, hey, be sure, again, just like Dolph said, that's a good way to put a pin in this, guardyoursavings.com. You go there, and I like what y'all call this, a 20-minute Ask Anything session. I mean, I've thrown a lot of stuff at you here. There's some things I just think of in the moment, and you've been there with a quick answer. And if it's not Dolph that's giving it to you, it's some of that's on his great team over there, including Jeff, who knows a ton about Medicare, right?
Absolutely. I mean, over the last 20 years, I've tried to make a promise to my wife, like I'm going to learn something every week. And I have a little chart in my office, a little check mark, and like every week I'm going to try to learn something. So when people are telling me questions, I'm keeping up with the laws and keeping up the rules. I like to have my T's crossed. I like to have my I's dotted. And knowing versus guessing and hearing the correct responses, it's not a one-size-fits-all life. I mean, how many different golf clubs are there out there? How many different drivers are out there for NASCAR? I mean, everybody has their own style.
Oh, yeah.
And depending on what your style is, I mean, Dale Earnhardt Jr., he was a pretty good racer, right?
He certainly was. NASCAR Hall of Famer.
Jeff Gordon, I mean, these are the only ones I know, but they had different style. I mean, one's Rubbins racing, the other one says, I'm just going to fly by you.
Yeah.
We're in golf.
Dale Earnhardt Sr., even more of the Rubbins racing than the Rainbow Warrior, Mr. Clean, Jeff Gordon. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then you look at golf.
Either way, though, multi-time champions and Hall of Famers.
Oh, yeah, and they're great in sport. I mean, like, look at how much these football players are making today versus back in the day. I mean,
goodness.
It's two different animals you have to go at. And retirement is everybody. I mean, I have over 500 plus clients. I've met with God knows how many thousands of people over the years. I've done public speaking. I've done radio and all this other stuff. And I've never had two people in the identical situation. Never once.
Mark it down. There is no one-size-fits-all strategy. In fact, over years and years of doing this, Dolph has never seen the exact same case in front of him. That should say everything there. Every case is special, so you want to get in front of someone who's seen a lot, and that is Dolph Janis and his team at Clear Income Strategies. Again, book that 20-minute Ask Anything session at guardyoursavings.com. And Dolph, I'm going to start ending these with this if we don't say it during the show, but I love your theory in life. If you cannot live tomorrow until you live today. guardyoursavings.com. Everybody, thank you so much for listening here to the Guard Your Savings podcast with Dolph Janis. And Dolph, thank you so much for, again, enlightening us on all these different retirement benchmarks and how they can affect us.
It's my pleasure. Take care and God bless.
By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities offered through Randall Janis, North Carolina Insurance License number 8483456. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. Dolph Janis is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Dolph Janis is licensed in your state, please call 704-919-0149.